Hi guys, it's Kaz, and today I'm going to be talking about my June TBR, all of the books I would like to read in the month of June. Before we jump into the books, I want to take a moment to address the things that are happening in the world right now, and honestly discussions that are way overdue on my part and many other people's parts as well. So, as I'm sure you're all aware, after the murder of George Floyd, there have been a lot of discussions both online, in person, and twistedly in the media. If you want to know more about what has been happening or find ways to educate yourself, places to donate and show your support, then I'd love to direct you to some of the links in the description below. Knox the Reader has compiled a really great list of resources from charities and foundations to donate to, petitions to sign, social media accounts to follow, books to read, health and safety tips if you're attending protests, really useful things like that. Jessie from Bow Ties and Books has been attending a lot of the protests in Minneapolis and documenting these peaceful protests, so I would urge you to go and take a look at their Instagram stories. I've got everything saved in the highlights, and as well I've also put some links to other Black creators within our community that I would urge you to go and watch and show your support for. There's a lot of Black booktubers right now who are taking the time and the energy amidst all of the pain and sadness that I'm sure they're feeling right now to speak about their experiences, in a lot of cases specifically talking about some pretty deep-rooted issues here in the booktube community as well. So I would really urge you to go and take a look at all of those videos, watch them and listen, wholeheartedly listen, and be prepared to act, and just show the Black creators the love and support they deserve. One such booktuber is Books with Shay, who created the Blackout Buddy Read, which is happening right now. It's running from the 5th until the 19th of June. Please do take a look at the announcement video. There's also a website where you can purchase merch, the proceeds of which will be donated. This buddy read will encompass reading 2 books. We have White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, which looks at the defensive and counterproductive behaviors of white people when they have their assumptions about race challenged, why we behave this way, and how these reactions just further enforce inequality. One note on White Fragility that I wanted to mention, this is a book written by a white author, and I believe it contains quotes that have the N-word uncensored, and I know that this was of concern to a lot of people, though there also seems to be differing opinions, so I think that it was being looked into whether or not this book would go ahead as part of the buddy read, but at the time I'm filming this, I haven't seen an update yet on the Twitter or the website. So just wanted to flag here, please do keep an eye out on the Twitter and the website for any further news in that regard. We also have White Rage by Carol Anderson. This one I'm currently reading, I'm listening to the audiobook, and this looks at the history in America starting from the Civil War up into more present times and the ways in which Black progress has been opposed and suppressed. At the very end of the buddy read there will be a live show, and the whole purpose of this is to encourage a safe space for discussion and honestly just a better understanding of the things that are happening in the world right now and the deep, serious underlying issues that are the cause of all of these problems. If you'd like to participate, it is definitely not too late, so please check out the links and join the buddy read if you would like to. Next up, I have another buddy read book club book. Actually, no, 2. I keep forgetting it's 2. So I co-host a speculative fiction book club called The Name of the Book, and one of the books that we are reading in June is The Dark Tide by Alicia Jasinska. So this is a dark fairy tale-esque fantasy set on an island where every year a boy is sacrificed on the full moon in order to keep the island from flooding. We have 2 characters, Lena, who I think suspects her brother may be chosen this year, so she enlists the help of Thomas, who is someone she secretly loves, and I think is also the only person to have ever escaped the palace. However, this draws the Queen's attention and Thomas is captured instead. Then we have Queen Eva, who has essentially cast away her heart after her sister sacrificed herself to save the boy she loved. As the queen, she is not willing to make the same mistake, as long as it means saving herself and her city. And I think there's a romance that starts to blossom between Lena and Queen Eva, which I am here for. Very much looking forward to this one. This is by an Australian author, and when we picked this book, it was also supposed to come out in the US in June, but that has been pushed back to August, so a lot of our international book clubbers will not be able to join us, which is why we have decided to read a second book. It is a novella called In the Vanisher's Palace by Aliette de Bodard. We decided to choose a shorter book so that people, if they wish to, could read both books and not feel too pressured by reading 2 books in a month. But if you do live outside of Australia and are unable to read The Dark Tide and would like to participate this month, then we have this second option for you. So this one is a female retelling of Beauty and the Beast with, I believe, a cast of Vietnamese characters, and there's dragons. Almost forgot that. So we have a woman named Yen who was sold into indenture to one of the last dragons walking this earth in order to pay off her village's debts. I think Yen expects to be tortured and killed. However, this dragon, Yukon, actually needs a scholar to tutor her 2 children. So this one sounds like a very interesting one. If you would like to participate in the book club this month and join in for either of these books, we will be discussing them in a live show on Pierre Ford's channel at the end of June. I've been reading very slowly, so I'm not sure how many of the remaining books I've chosen out for this month will actually be possible, but I am prioritizing some books with LGBTQIP+ rep because Pride Month, as well as some books written by or about a person of color. So this is like my wish list, my ultimate wish list. Check Please by Ngozi Akazu. So this is a graphic novel about hockey, which I never thought I would be interested in. I'm not into sports very much at all, but I do enjoy me a good graphic novel. I think the main character starts falling for another guy as well, so cannot complain about that. And I've honestly just heard so many fantastic things about Check Please. We follow a guy named Eric, who is a vlogger, actually a former junior figure skating champion, vlogger extraordinaire, and a very talented amateur patissier. As a freshman at university, Eric has also joined the hockey team. And then there's Jack, who I'm assuming Eric falls in love with. Will it be reciprocated? I sure will hope so. The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. So this is the sequel to the 5th season, which I read this year and really enjoyed. Obviously, as a sequel, I'm not going to talk about the synopsis of this one, but the Broken Earth trilogy is set in a world that is ending. At the very beginning of the 5th season, there is a huge split that crosses the entire continent, spewing out a lot of ash and has caused mass devastation. One of these characters is a woman named Essen, whose son has been murdered and daughter is missing. So she is also embarking on a mission to find her missing daughter whilst grieving the tragic death of her son and navigating this very strange and terrifying world. Oh, I can't quite remember what it's called. I love when books have an appendix with definitions. In this world, there are also orogenes who possess orogeny, which is basically the ability to manipulate thermal, kinetic, and related forms of energy to address seismic events. 5th season was really wonderful. Took a little while for me to get into and get into the rhythm of, but towards the end, whoa, it was freaking fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to picking up the second book. I don't want to make the same mistake I usually do in leaving sequels to like years later and forgetting everything that happens. So I'm popping this on my list. Would very much like to read it. I'm gonna just cancel myself, throw myself in the trash for completely forgetting to mention the queer rep in the 5th season. I just can't with myself right now. Also, I found out about this after I'd already filmed my TBR video, but this month there is also going to be a 48-hour round of Blackathon in honor of Tony McDade and also in celebration of Black Queer Pride. If you'd like to participate, it's happening on Juneteenth for 48 hours, so that's June 19th, and it's an awesome opportunity to read some Black LGBTQIP+ books. Like I said, I'm going to be using Obelisk Gate for this because Black author, Black characters, and awesome queerness. From what I can remember from the 5th season, I had a flip back through of my post-it notes. There is a trans character, one of the main characters is a queer man, and there is a polyamorous relationship. I've also heard about a female-female relationship. I didn't tab anything and therefore cannot remember if it is in book 1. It may pop up in a later book, but there's also that there as well. So Obelisk Gate is going to be my primary read for Blackathon, and I'm really excited about it. We also have The Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron, which I should have read long before now. Harper Teen sent me a goodie box containing this proof as well as some other amazing things, including like this postcards, also bookmark. Like, it was a great time. Really awesome box, and I'm really sad I haven't picked this up before now. So we have Ara, who is born into a family of witch doctors, but Ara herself has no magic. There is one thing that Ara could try, and that is trading years of her life in exchange for power. Sounds like it could have some disastrous effects. There are children within the kingdom who start disappearing, and she is determined to find the culprit. There's also a demon king. That sounds great. Sounds really great. And as I'm sure you can tell from the cover, we have a black main character, also written by a black author. Blanca and Roja by Anna Marie McLemore. I think this one features a main character who is non-binary. The author is also non-binary, and I have been wanting to pick up a book by Anna Marie McLemore for the longest time, and I'm ashamed it's taken me this long. I think I own 3 of their books. So we have 2 sisters whose family has been bound by a generations old curse, which means that one day the swans from deep within the forest will pull them both into a dangerous game that will leave one of them a human and the other trapped in the body of a swan. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to read this. Lastly, we have Come Tumbling Down by Shannon Maguire. So this is the 5th book in the Wayward Children series, the first of which is called Every Heart a Doorway. This is a series of companion novellas. However, we do have a lot of characters that we recognize across the series who pop up here and there, but this one in particular does continue the arc of Jack and Jill from books 1 and 2. Of course, not going to go into details about what this is about because major spoilers, but in the first book in the series we are introduced to this world where children sometimes step through a doorway into another world, often quite magical, fantastical. The children don't always stay in these worlds, however, and sometimes return or are forced back into the mundane world. For those children who really struggle to adapt to their new reality because those magical worlds were the one place where they felt like they belonged, those children sometimes find themselves enrolled in Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children as a kind of way to cope alongside other people who also understand them, but also perhaps try and find their way back home. It's a very interesting series. We meet a range of really cool characters. In book 1 in particular, off the top of my head I can remember, we have a trans character, there's one who's asexual, and another character who we will see in here was in a female-female relationship. Very excited. For those of you who were participating in the Cosmere Along and are wondering what is happening right now, I wanted to just touch on this very briefly. I did step down as a co-host because I could not support the creator of this book club buddy read, but having removed themselves from the community, it's very up in the air what's happening with this read along. I know that a lot of you guys, myself included, are still really interested in reading the books within the Cosmere by Brandon Sanderson and talking about them, so I just wanted to mention that there are some conversations happening. I don't want to promise anything, but if I do have any news, I will let you know on my socials and or my next TBR video, so that's something to hopefully keep an eye out for. So to end on a positive note, I would like to start shouting out smaller booktubers here in my videos because I want to share the love. There's so many creators out there that I'd love to uplift in whatever way I can. So for today, I believe I've linked one of their videos in the description already, but I'd like to doubly mention Tiana T. A few weeks ago they posted their booktube newbie tag 2.0. I think last year they started making videos and then stopped, so they're starting fresh. They have also done a video on being black on booktube, which I would very much urge you to go and watch, again linked below. But I really love her style, I really love her humor, and I'm so excited to see more videos from her, so go and check her out. That is all that I have for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm curious to hear what you're excited to read in June. Let me know down below. Also, if you have any other booktubers you'd like to shout out, share some booktube love, feel free to leave some links below as well. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll chat to you guys in the comments and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!